Please listen to the rules and procedures that will follow for tonight's meeting.
Good evening, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Town of Babylon Zoning Board of Appeals. The following is the procedure that will be followed tonight. The matters will be called in the order they appear on the calendar, with adjourned matters being called at the end of the regularly scheduled matters. Matters cannot be heard prior to their published scheduled time. When your matter is called, please submit the affidavit of posting to the secretary and proceed to the podium and give your name and address. The chairperson will then swear you in and read into the record information we have from your application, comments from various town departments, and any correspondence received on your application. The chairperson will then ask you to make whatever presentation you wish to make to the board. After you have made your presentation, the board will ask whatever questions the board deems appropriate, and then we will ask for comments from the public. If you wish to speak for or against an application, we ask that you wait until you're acknowledged. Come forward, give us your name and address, tell us where your property is in relation to the property that's in question tonight, and then please direct your comments to the board, not the applicant or the applicant's representative. We have to keep a record, and we cannot do that if there are people talking over each other or cross conversations. If someone has spoken for or against an application, and they have said exactly the same thing that you wish to say, it will have the same force and effect in the record if you give your name and address, are sworn in, and say that you join in those comments. If you have anything additional to say, please don't hesitate to do so, but keep in mind that you will be given only one opportunity to speak. After the public has spoken, the board may ask the applicant to come back to answer any questions that may have come up as a result of the public comments, or for the applicant to summarize. When the applicant comes back to answer any additional questions, if that happens, that does not start a second round of public comments. Once the matter has been heard, various things may occur. The board may decide the application immediately. It may reserve decision. If the board reserves decision, that does not mean the matter is approved or denied. It just means that the board needs more time to decide, may want to go out and look at the site again, or might want to review the documents and testimony further before making a decision. In either event, the applicant will receive the board's decision in writing shortly after the board makes its decision. If the application is approved, that does not mean that you can then go ahead and start construction or whatever it is that you requested from the board. You will have to wait for the building permit to be obtained from the building department before your go-ahead. On some occasions, the matter may be continued for another night. If it is continued, in most cases it will be for the submission of documents, a new survey, new plans, or something of that nature. If that's the case, no one needs to come back on the new date. The documents will be submitted and no further testimony will be taken. On rare occasions, a matter may be continued for future testimony. If that's the case, then people would have to come back to testify. If matters are adjourned at an open meeting on the scheduled date of hearing, no further notice need be given unless specifically required by the board on the date the adjournment is granted. 3 rules that may affect your ability to proceed tonight. 1. If the sign was not posted for 10 days, we cannot hold the hearing tonight. 2. If you commence this proceeding while you own the property, but no longer own the property, and you are here now to continue with the application, you will need either the written consent of the new owner or the new owner to be present for the hearing. This situation could come about if you sold your house or building, money was held in escrow at closing for a certificate of occupancy or permit, and you're here tonight to clear that up. Lastly, if your application is a commercial application and it's other than a renewal, and there is more than one tenant in the building, then you need your landlord to be here. Is there any applicant that has any difficulty with those situations and would need an adjournment tonight?
Is there anyone who would need an adjournment? Please rise and join the board in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before we begin tonight, there are a couple of adjournments on our calendar. Number 3 on our agenda, application 23174, property located in West Babylon on Monarch Avenue. Is anybody here on that application? That is being adjourned until December the 14th. And application number 5 on our agenda, application 23173, properties located on Straight Path and Hamlin Avenue in West Babylon. That is also being adjourned to December the 14th. Anybody here on that application? Okay. First application tonight is application 23177 of Sarim Magdan, property located in West Babylon. Name and address for the record, please.
Sevim Yeşim Magdan, 34 Westchester Avenue, West Babylon, New York, 11704.
And do you affirm to tell the truth?
I'm sorry?
Do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Okay. For the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated October 19th, 2023. Environmental Control memo dated September 17th, 2023. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. A survey by Michael Scalise dated October 28th, 22. Second survey by Michael Scalise actually showing exactly what's there and what you're trying to get approved. A tax map acting as an area map, and,
Mr. Chairman, we have 12 pictures.
okay.
We also do need affidavit posted. Do you have the affidavit?
Oh, yes, I do.
Where we going? It's Babylon. Okay. What would you like to tell us about the application?
Yes, we are trying to get legalize our swimming pool, like it's in semi-in-ground. And once they came to my property, they noticed that there's a gazebo and then the stairs attached to my swimming pool. So that's why we want to get legalized for all 3 on my property, if possible.
Okay, thank you. Turn the hearing over to Ms.
Sure.
McCullough.
When was the pool constructed?
It's in COVID time, 2020, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. And we're having some complaints about a chemical smell or some type of, there's nothing?
That I don't know about it. We don't have any, chemical smell.
Okay. Is the pool covered and maintained when it's not in use?
No, it's in use.
When it's not in use?
Yeah, when it's, of course, we cover it.
Covered
Yeah.
and it's
Sure.
maintained?
Yep.
You've opened it every year since it's been constructed?
Yes.
And it's
we
been in
use.
use?
Yep.
Okay. I'm not sure of the smell complaint, but I just want to make sure that you are maintaining the pool if that's what it is.
We are. Yes, we
Okay.
are.
Okay. And are you guys renting out an apartment or anything
No,
in
we
your house?
don't.
No?
No,
Just
we
all
are.
family there?
Yes, family.
Okay. All right, I have no further questions.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none.
All right, I make a motion to approve application 23177.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Next application is application 23178 of Anthony Alosio, Kimberly Webb, and John Alosio, property located in Deer Park.
Hi,
Hi, name and address for the record, please.
Kimberly Aloisio, we're married now, 85 West 20th Street, Deer Park, New York, 11729.
Okay. Do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
For the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated October 19th, 2023. Environmental Control memo dated October 17th, 2023. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. A survey by William Hogan dated November 2nd, updated May 3rd, 2023. Tax map acting as an area map, and,
And Mr. Chairman, we have 3 pictures.
okay. What would you like to tell us about the application?
Yes, okay, so we put a pool in last year, built a patio, added a couple things around the pool and a retaining wall. So I think the retaining wall was part of the problem, but it was already existing. We just replaced it and just updated the backyard.
Okay, turn the hearing over to Mr. Correcchia.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you had the pool installed and the retaining walls?
So, yeah, we had an in-ground, we already had an above-ground there, but we put an in-ground pool in. And the retaining wall was already there when we bought the house. We just replaced it because it was falling apart.
I'll say, all right, so how long do you own the house?
9 years?
Is the house up for sale?
It is.
Okay, so you're just trying to legalize everything for the sale, for the purpose of the sale?
Yeah,
Okay, it is excessive as far as the lot coverage goes, and we're concerned about that. Mainly, we're concerned about the water runoff because of, there's your right to zero clearance with the retaining walls on the property lines.
I understand.
Do you think you could provide some details on the retaining walls for us to engineering so they could review it?
Yeah, I drew like my own little picture of like the heights, because on everyone else around us, it doesn't go above their property. It's only on our property.
No, I understand that, but we just want to see if engineering could just review it and make sure the water runoff on your property doesn't interfere with any of your neighbors.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So, yeah, if you want to submit that, if it's
Yeah.
acceptable.
it's
If
like
not,
a-
they'll speak into the microphone, please.
We have a drain and it goes to a dry well in the backyard. So
Okay, so you have a dry well
Yeah,
and
and
a drain?
it's- yeah, it's
Is
all
it detailed on your little sketch there?
no.
No,
I can-
okay.
yeah.
All right, I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. Is it just one dry well on the property?
In the backyard, yes, but in the front, there's another one.
For the gutters?
Yeah.
Yeah, just one in
The
the back.
entire rear yard is pavers? No?
No,
There's-
there's grass.
There's grass? Are there
Yeah.
structures on the grass area?
No.
No? It's
No.
just all on the pavers?
Yeah.
87.7% of the rear yard.
It's covered.
Yeah, pretty much. Hold it.
Hey, we're gonna,
I'm sorry, this plan will have to be reviewed by our engineer division. They may require professional drawings.
Yeah, I figured. Okay, okay.
so we're gonna close the hearing, we're gonna reserve decision. We're gonna keep the record open for plans from the engineering department. All right? Thank you. Yeah, three. No, three. Oh, number three, never mind. Okay, in case anybody come in late, number 3 is adjourned. It's application 23174, and that's adjourned to December the 14th. Next application is application 23162 of Michael Kukuza and Heather LaBarbera, West Babylon. Name and address for the record.
Gennaro Cozzolino, 2125 Deer Park Avenue, Deer Park, New York, 11729. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Gennaro Cozzolino for the homeowner, Michael Kokoza.
Hold on a second.
Sure.
First of all, do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
You do, okay. For the record, we have a planning division memo dated October 19th, 2023, environmental control memo dated October 17th, 2023, survey by Jason Lettingham dated March 5th, 2021, tax map acting as an area map, and
And Mr. Mr. Chairman, we have 4 pictures and a drawing by Michael Angelo, dated 5/9/2023.
Okay. Would you like to tell us about the application?
Good evening again, yes. We're requesting relief from the board to build a new 25 by 42.3 foot second floor addition. The addition is going over the existing footprint of the house and a new front portico. The proposed addition will consist of a new master suite with a bathroom and 2 walk-in closets, and an additional 2 bedrooms and a common bathroom. Proposed additions require a variance for front yard setback, requesting to build at 28 feet to the second floor and 23.5 feet to the new portico. Instead of permitted 30 feet, a difference of 2 feet and 6.5 feet respectively. Variance for rear yard setback, requesting to build at 24.7 feet instead of permitted 30 feet, a difference of 5.3 feet. Variance for total building area, requesting to build at 58.47% instead of permitted 30%, a difference of 28.47%, or 1,612.7 square feet. The 2 gazebos will be moved to comply with the 2-foot side yard setback and 6-foot rear yard setback. The existing rear yard building area requires a variance, requesting 98% from permitted 45%, a difference of 53%, or 780.1 square feet. The homeowners were not aware of the limitations of the rear yard coverage code and understand that this is a substantial request on their part, and have decided to cut back the concrete patio 2 feet on both sides and 2 feet in the rear, totaling 220 square feet, therefore leaving enough space to walk around the pool, giving us a new rear yard coverage of 560 square feet and a new total building area of 1,392.1 square feet. Furthermore, we would condition the front portico to never be enclosed as per planning department recommendations. Proposed additions will have no significant impact to the environment, will not affect any of the adjacent properties, and will fit in with the character and nature of the neighborhood. The 2-foot cutback will also provide more much-needed drainage in the rear yard. Thank you.
Okay, I'll turn the hearing over to Ms. McCullough.
Thank you. All right, so should we delete some of the
Yeah.
We will revise the plans and resubmit.
So
Great.
we're going to get the revised plans?
Yeah, because I got the numbers, but I want to verify, make
Yeah.
sure.
That's fine. So we'll get the plans, we'll do that then.
All right, so, and we're just expanding upwards along the
We're going right over
foundation?
the footprint,
Yep,
correct.
perfect. And it's just for family, we're not doing any type
No,
of-
no accessory apartments, nothing.
Perfect. Okay, I have no further questions.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. So we're going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. We're going to keep the record open for revised plans.
Okay,
Once we get those, we'll see what it is, and then you'll get a decision.
very good. Thank you.
Application number 23173 has been,
169, it's adjourned.
yeah, I was going to say, this one is, that's adjourned to December the 14th, just in case somebody came in. And the next application is application 23169 of GNR Building Corp., property located in Wyandanch.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Helping me out last time. I didn't get
Good
it.
evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Nicole Blanda. I'm an attorney at Bizzell, Blanda, and Visconti, with offices at 535 Broad Hollow Road in Melville.
Okay. For the record, we have a planning division memo dated October 19th, 2023. a environmental control memo dated October 24th, 2023. You should have gotten a copy of this. There are a couple of comments. Single-family use on-site septic system would
Yes.
require something. Okay. A survey by William Simmons dated June 15th, 2023. Tax map acting as an area map, and
And Mr. Chairman, we have 3 pictures and a land survey by Harold E. Herbert, dated 7/5/23.
okay. What would you like to tell us about the application?
I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant, who is the contract vendee for this property. This is a vacant 50 by 100-foot parcel having 5,000 square feet. It is located in Wyandanch and is zoned Residence B. It does have its own tax lot number and own street address as of right now. It is on the Health Department map, meaning that they would grant it approval for a sanitary system because it is on that map. We're here tonight seeking variances in connection with the construction of a new 2-story, single-family dwelling on this lot. It would have 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and an internal garage with a 30-foot-long driveway for off-street parking. It would have an unfinished basement. I know that was a question raised in the Planning Department memo, so to clarify, it would be unfinished. The house plans indicate it is a cellar, and there would not be any issue if there was a covenant to say that it was unfinished. We are seeking to reduce the frontage from 80 feet required to 50 feet provided as the existing condition, reduce lot area from 10,000 square feet to 5,000 square feet, south side yard from 12 feet to 10 feet, reduce the total side yards from 30 to 25 feet, and we would respectfully request to increase the building area from 20% to 22.93%, which would allow the house to have a little more depth and provide the internal garage, which would not only help for car storage, but homeowners like to store other materials in their garage as well. The house style and size is the same house that was approved at 174 Washington Avenue, which was approved, and I have it in a packet to hand up to the board. It was approved back in 2021. It was the same relief for building area on that parcel as well as lot area and frontage. But to give the board a little context for the surrounding area, there is a prior approval immediately adjacent to the north, that is tax lot 15. It's a 50 by 100-foot parcel also, 5,000 square feet. That home does not have a garage, so it is a little shorter in depth, and that was approved again in 2004. There was another lot, it's a 50-footer in this area in the radius, that was approved back in 2001 on the corner of Garden City and South 36th Street. That did require variance to go from 10,000 to 5,000 and 80 feet to 50 feet. Most recently, an approval was on 31st Street for a 50-foot lot. That was November 2022. That was a 50% variance also for lot area. And I did take a look after reading through the memo. I know the board is always concerned, and rightfully so, about setting precedent. I did look at the surrounding radius. You know, to the north is Long Island Avenue, then you have Pine Lawn Cemetery. To the south are residential homes, and then the school district. Interestingly, in this area, this is the last vacant 50-footer. The other 50-footers that are in the area are either already developed with homes, as shown by tax assessor records that I pulled, or they're linked to the tax lot next door owned by the same person. So in other words, that home that's located on the adjacent tax lot to a 50-footer is either CO'd to the entire, so it could be, you know, 100 and a 50 together, or it's just merged in common ownership with the adjacent property, meaning that if someone tried to come in and develop that 50-footer, I would presume the town would be looking at a subdivision rather than just the development of a single vacant 50-foot parcel. So I did pull those tax records. I have them here, as well as a bunch of other prior approvals for 50-footers within this area that did obtain similar relief. My client, Mr. Ralph, is very familiar with the covenants, has no problem with single family, no accessory apartment owner-occupied, as well as the rest of the covenants that are listed in the Planning Department memo. So I'm just going to hand up the prior approvals. And I did have a photo of the house that was built back in '06 from ZBA approval 2004. That's the 50-footer immediately next door to us. If the board has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, did you check as far as single and separate on this lot? Evidently, the one next door is single and separate.
Correct. The one back in 2004 was single and separate. My understanding on this lot is that at some point, not recently, but at some point, it may have been connected to the farm that is to the west.
Okay.
That one is now owned by Shetland Farms. The premises that we're here on tonight is not. It's owned by Mr. Pasha.
Is there any way we could reduce the size of the house to get the lot coverage down?
We could certainly take a look at reducing the size of the house. Again, I see the comment about, perhaps a homeowner might want a shed in the future. I would submit to the board that there is an internal garage, which people do sometimes use for storage. And I do believe that families would always rather have the internal space, quality of life for the size of their home. But of course, certainly if the board is asking us to do that, we would do that.
Okay, and my last comment is, as far as the basement goes, just go over that again. It's just going to be...
It's a cellar, it's unfinished.
Okay, so would you need egress from there? In other words, like an egress window or a cellar entrance or whatever? And that would probably, and not probably, it will require additional variance?
The architect didn't show any ingress window wells on the plans, so I'd have to check back with the architect for New York State Building Code to find out if it's an unfinished basement, whether or not it requires anything. And then obviously if it did and we needed another variance, then we would be back here. But the way he drew the plans and the way I'm looking at the survey, I can't say to the board, I don't see any egress window wells shown, so, and he's not here tonight.
Okay.
We would recommend the covenant for the unfinished cellar.
And I can say we're not asking for a Bilko entrance, I know that.
Okay. All right, you agreed to all the covenants and restrictions and conditions, right?
Yes.
And would you agree that the basement remain unfinished, or a cellar, basically?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. So we're going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. We'll keep the record open. Maybe you can get back to us about the lot coverage, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Have a great night.
You too. Next application is application 23175 of Deer Park Quality Auto, property located in Deer Park. Name and address for the record.
Nick Monastero, 4 Corey Lane, Bohemia, New York.
Okay. And do you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
For the record, we have a Planning Division memo dated October 24, 2023. Environmental Control memo dated October 17, 2023. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. We have one survey. Architect James McDonough. I don't see a date. What's this? This is by William Simmons, dated February 13th, 2018, which is a survey. Tax map acting as an area map, and,
And Mr. Chairman, we have 4 pictures.
okay, what would you like to tell us about the application?
Myself, I've been doing applications since 1984. At this location, I've been there since 1995. I recently sold the building, and I'm only using half of it. The landlord's using the other half. So I'm just trying to downsize my business as I get older.
Okay, turn the hearing over to Mr. Kretschmer.
How are you tonight?
Doing okay.
So you only have the front portion of the
Yes.
building? And the back portion of the building, what are they using that for?
They do steel work. I'm really not sure if they make
Okay.
gates or what they do.
All right, so all these storage and containers in the back area,
Not mine,
they're not yours?
no.
Okay.
And I don't control that part of the building anymore because I had sold the building and I leased back just the front.
Okay, so your area is just the front, and what about outside storage for cars then?
I have 5 parking spaces behind the gate,
Behind the gate,
yes.
and
I think I only use like 2 or 3 of them anyway, but,
that's behind the gate, so
And I'm not-
you share that area with?
no, that's my designated spot, but I guess whatever they do there is okay. Try and get along.
Okay, so outdoor storage, as far as, you have 5 spots behind the gate for outdoor
Yes.
storage? And in the parking lot area,
No outdoor storage,
okay, and there's a lot of metal and debris in the back of that area.
nothing to do with me.
Nothing to do with you. Okay, so I'm not sure if we need a more detailed set of plans or something to show that your new area. I'm not sure about that, so,
I didn't change anything. I just using less space and doing less business.
but the concern was
I
the,
didn't renew my dealer's license, so I have less cars there.
right, the concern was the containers in the back and the barbed wire fence in the back.
What's with the barbed wire? That's been there since I've been in 1995.
Okay, so that's not
That's
permitted.
not new.
Okay,
I mean, people used to jump the fence and take stuff. That's why I put that in when I moved in.
all right, we need to receive a review to this.
Did you ever get a permit for the barbed wire fence at all?
No, I never knew I needed it. And like I said, it's been up there since 1995.
The outdoor storage containers, you say, are not yours?
Not mine.
But they're not legal, or we don't know if they have permits?
I don't either.
Okay.
But it has nothing to do with my business or my application.
Who is the landlord?
I have the name Wacho, I'm not sure. It's on the application.
Do we need the landlord present on this for renewal? I don't think so. It's a renewal, we don't need it.
Like I said, I've been renewing it since 1995.
Plan that you submitted with your application, you need to label which spots you're using for the outdoor storage.
The 5 directly behind the fence.
We just need you to label it on the plan. You can come into the office and label it.
Okay.
All right.
I've been compliant with all those
On the
asks.
planning memo, you saw the conditions that planning is concerned about, on the bottom of the planning memo, you got a copy of this?
I saw it, I didn't really understand.
You just want a detailed plan of,
The 5 vehicles, there's
the
5
desi-
spots right behind the
Right,
fence.
which
So that's
Katie
easy
said
enough.
you would come in
I could
and-
send my secretary in, she'll take care of that.
all right, and just, if the containers are not yours, we need to know just the amount of area you're using on the building then,
5 parking spots, whatever.
plus the area of the building.
Up.
Okay, all right.
Is where the trailer container is now, is that blocking your outdoor storage spaces?
No, not at all. It's off to the back of the property.
Okay. And you say all the debris in the back and everything, all the
Is
metal
the
is...
people who rent the back of the building.
Okay.
And that has a separate entrance and a separate address coming off O'Connell Lane.
About that?
Did you see the fire marshal comments?
Yes, I took care of it already, and I called her. She said she would put it in her notes. I have a receipt from the suppressant company that did the inspection. If you guys want to see that, I can give it to you.
Hey, we could submit that if you have a copy.
Sure. She said she was going to stop back and drop off a permit or something, because she said if you wait to them to send it, you're never going to get it. So she goes, I'll be in to see it. The copies are a little light.
All right, at this time, I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none. Motion to approve.
Any way we could do this for a few more years, so I don't have to keep coming back?
Until the site is-
Yeah. Well, we'll,
You know, I had my secretary do this one, and I think something happened, and then they sent the application back. But it took me like 3 months to get it back, and then whatever they asked for, she took care of. But by the time we got it all in and then got it back, so that's the reason. But I'm just saying that I've been doing it since 1995, maybe 5 years instead of 2 or 3.
you already got an extra year.
8 months,
Just
10
saying.
months. But my paperwork's been in twice.
All right, so if we could resolve these conditions, you know, maybe we could consider something for you, but,
Whatever, that's fine. I appreciate anything you guys do.
so you want to reserve, right?
Yeah, let's reserve. We're going to close the hearing, reserve decision. You'll get the decision in the mail. You're going to come in and designate those spaces, or
Yes.
your secretary or
Yeah, I'll
someone's
have her
going to
come in
take
and
care of
do
that?
it. She could just draw it for you? Right behind, on the existing paperwork that's in? Okay, perfect.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your evening.
Gotta love it. Next application is application 23176, 1822 Deer Park Holding LLC, property located in Deer Park. Mr. Farrell.
Good afternoon or good evening. Did you get new sign, new nameplates? Because your name is like huge. It's like if anybody had any doubt who the top dog was in this room, just look at the nameplates.
If somebody lost my nameplate now, that's what came back, I guess.
For the applicant, John Farrell with the firm of Son Ward, Braff, Koblenz. Our offices are at 1300 Vets Highway, Suite 100, Hauppauge, New York.
For the record, we have a planning division memo dated October 19th, 2023, environmental control memo dated October 19th, 2023. Where's the Board of Appeals? Under secret review, the board may act on this direction, okay. Suffolk County Planning memo dated October 25th, 2023. Decision of local determination, take no position for or against. A survey by John Minto dated February 7th, 2022. Tax map acting as an area map, and
Mr. Chairman, we have 4 pictures and a floor plan and a cover sheet from Christopher Robinson dated 7/13/2022.
okay.
Site plan for the board, or you scanned it in with the standard?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I think we're good with that.
Just for the record, I brought with me Wayne Muller and Stephen Ditta from R&M Engineering, just in case the board has any questions about the site or anything like that. The subject property is located on the southwest corner of Deer Park Avenue and Lake Avenue with frontage on West First Street along the rear of the site. It's a little over 50,000 square feet in lot area, and it's located in a Business E district. It's presently improved with 3 buildings that are all going to be demolished as part of this application. I believe some of you may be familiar with this property. There was a former auto repair shop there, and Christie's Smoke Shop sits prominently on the corner. That site has been an eyesore for many years, and my client can't wait to take it down and start this project. My client's proposing to demolish all the buildings and replace them with 2 fast casual style restaurants. One will be a Qdoba that'll be located on the southerly side of the property. The northerly side of the property, we do not have a tenant yet. We are still speaking to several different franchises about, possibly taking over that location. The buildings are virtually identical. They're about 2,400 or so square feet in size. There's 28 inside seats and 12 outdoor seats on both properties. Let me just see. So as part of the redevelopment, we only need one variance. We comply with parking, we comply with all setbacks. We're providing new landscape buffers that don't presently exist on the property. The variance is to reduce the rear yard setback for the northerly building from 50 feet required to 17 feet provided. It's actually 20 feet. There's about a 3-foot overhang. That's an architectural element in the back that's shown up on the site plan that extends that 17 feet. We do back up to a commercially utilized property. It's an office space. So we're not going to have any impact on any homes or any residential property. So along Deer Park Avenue, I think the board is familiar, there's a lot of properties that are in a similar situation to this where the buildings would front on Deer Park Avenue and would have, not a lot of depth to them because of the many widenings over the years of Route 231. And that's the situation that we're in. This property is somewhat unique. We're not building an overly large building, and we're trying to locate it on the site to provide a more attractive, appealing streetscape than what presently exists along Deer Park Avenue. We are in discussion with the Deer Park Chamber of Commerce. They are going to put a sign on the corner of Lake Avenue and Route 231. They're currently working on a plan for that, and we will bring that in. If it needs a variance, we'll bring it in with our sign package when we have everything squared away on that. If the board has any questions, I think it's a pretty straightforward application. Minimal rear yard setbacks are not uncommon along Deer Park Avenue. Walgreens doesn't meet the setback. Mangano Funeral Home doesn't meet the setback. And they're actually less than what we're proposing here. So,
Turn the hearing over to Mr. Correcchia.
Good evening, John. How are you?
good evening, Mr. Correcchia.
The only concern I see here from planning is, would your client agree to a covenant for hours of operation from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. for both restaurants?
We will agree to that. The only caveat would be if the user of the northerly building were a tenant like a Starbucks or something along those lines that may need morning hours, but we would agree to that, certainly for the Qdoba use.
Okay. So we'd have to reword that if, or you'd have to come back for a variance or a change of covenant.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I don't know what the other tenant is, so it's hard for me to agree to the whole site. We had a discussion about this at planning board, and I definitely agreed with the hours for Qdoba, but in terms of the other tenant, if it's a breakfast type of place, restricting us to 8 a.m. start probably puts us behind the 8 ball. So, I would agree to it certainly on the Qdoba. I would, if the board would be open to us coming back for hours, if we do get that user, I could do that as well. It's really your call. I don't want to be argumentative about the hours because at this point, I don't know if it's a problem.
All right, we get it.
Okay. All right, I have no further questions. Do you know, so you don't have any other restaurant, it's just the Qdoba that you have booked right now?
They've been speaking to several different fast casual style restaurants, similar, I don't know if you're familiar with Qdoba. It's kind of an assembly line, everything is freshly made. So you want a burrito, you get in line, you tell them what toppings you want on it, and then they wrap it up and you get the end product. It's not stuff that's pre-made like days in advance and microwaved. It's all fresh food, and it's a little bit healthier, I guess, than regular fast food, though. I don't know what that means anymore.
Sounds delicious. Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? Come on up. Okay. Go ahead. Name, hey, how are you? Name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Lisa Winston, and I am at 152 Lake Avenue. My home is that corner house, faces Lake Avenue, but I'm fortunate enough to have a nice, long, deep backyard that will be right behind these establishments. Lived in the house my whole life, was raised there, bought the house, so I'm familiar with all the old owners, the Christie's, Luncheonette, Smoke Shop, et cetera. And because, you know, prior to, we had a very friendly relationship. So my concern is, I don't want to look at it as an eyesore either, but I'm concerned about the drive-through portion because we're not really specific as to where that will come in and outlet. And I'm concerned that the drive-through will let out on West First Street, and I will have that constant traffic and noise and light on my block, especially till 11 p.m.
There's an exit on Deer Park Avenue,
Mm-hmm.
and a curb cut is on West First. So the curb cut to go in, and that's for the B restaurant. There's nothing for the A restaurant. As
The
far
restaurant is the Cadovas.
there's the Cadova.
So the Qdoba does not have a drive-through, right?
No, the Cadova does have the drive-through.
So it looks like it exits out.
It exits out
to
on,
Deer Park
it
Avenue.
exits onto Deer Park Avenue.
Okay, so no entry or exit onto West First Street?
There is.
There is, so that's a,
The thing is that it's an exit,
right.
or not drive-through, it's like if people
They
would
can only make a one-way turn, looks like.
Yeah, they
It's
can
a
only make,
one-way turn.
it's a, yeah, it's a left-hand turn out of there on West First.
Okay, it's just a concern of mine because the garbage, the traffic, you know, especially if we're looking to keep the lighting, you know, I'm a little spoiled. It's been closed for so long. Even when it was a tire alignment, you know, they used to wake us up at 6 a.m. rant, rant with the tires, but we were super respectful of each other. The parking, you know, he never left a mess behind, and that goes all the way down the block. I'm, you know, unfortunately the only person on that block. But it's just a major concern for me. You know, I have my kids, my grandkids there, and, you know, we have driveway gates there that we go in and out of as well. So I just, you know, I don't know what my concern does for that, but I just wanted to voice it because we've been hearing a lot of different things, and we certainly want to see the property developed. It has been old and gringy, and it's attracted people just breaking windows, and it's been an issue, but for what it's going to be and not knowing what it's going to be, it just poses a concern for us living there. That's all.
We understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
That is one more, John. One more.
I just want to, just get both. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Louis D'Ambrosio, 38 Union Boulevard, East Islip, New York. I represent Mr. Menino, who owns the property Manley Limited, which is the property that this project surrounds. The one
You're
with
firm
the
to tell the
two-
truth?
The west of it, yes.
Okay. Go ahead. And what property does he own?
So the property right there that the cursor is on, it's the property that borders both the west side and the north side of the property.
Okay.
So our concerns become, we have very little objection to this setback variance that they're requesting, but our concern becomes obviously noise, garbage and whatnot, and privacy there. So we are a commercially zoned property. We do have a residence on the second floor of the building. So our concern becomes obviously the noise with having that restaurant operating, you know, so close to the property. So we were requesting that there be a landscape buffer. There's nothing that I was able to see or we were able to see on the application or the site plan that shows that there's going to be some trees or some sort of other landscape buffering there bordering us, as well as a privacy fence. It says there's chain link fence, but I don't see anything about a proposed PVC fence, you know, along that western, right to the rear there. Our other concerns also become is on the proposed site plan, they have a dumpster that's located on the southernmost portion of the property. So our concern would be is that that's not altered to have a dumpster located on the western portion behind Restaurant A. Again, another concern with rodents, noise, after hours, especially up until 11 p.m. at night.
And what's his building being used as? What
Office and residence on the second floor.
and what are
office
their
res-
hours?
Well, the commercial use on the first floor, those are normal business hours, 9 to 6 o'clock at night. But the residents up on the second floor, obviously, being 24-hour. So if at 10 o'clock at night, they're slamming dumpsters or, the kitchen's cooking, the exhaust fan's going, obviously becomes a noise pollution issue for us.
Okay. Anything
Also, lighting is, make sure that there's obviously down lighting and not lighting that's shining directly to
Yeah,
the second floor, as we have windows that face the board of the property.
Is that cold?
It's pretty standard condition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assume right now.
Yeah, it's
So another concern we had, obviously, during the demolition of all this stuff is the applicant prepared to do rodent control as they're demolishing the buildings?
They would have to do that.
They have to
There
do
was a
that?
problem,
What
yes.
about dust control, as far as like the windscreens on the temp fence?
Yeah, they would have to control the dust too if there's a big problem with that.
Okay. So will there be a covenant that we put into it that they're not allowed to install dumpster abutting, along that property line?
I don't. We're gonna have to, yeah, we'll have to address that.
Okay. Well, again, the only thing is that you guys have the dumpster proposed on the southernmost portion.
Well, you have to.
You gotta speak to us.
Sorry. Well, is the employees from Restaurant A gonna walk all the way across the parking lot, at 11 o'clock at night to throw garbage out? All the way to the southernmost portion? Okay. Okay. Again, our concerns on it, we're just looking to protect the value
No,
of
we
our
understand.
property.
We definitely understand. Okay, we'll take a look at that.
Okay, thank you.
And maybe,
Yeah, absolutely.
oh. Would anyone else like to be heard on this application?
Just for the record, the plan that is before the board is the plan that was presented to the planning board. However, the planning board has recommended a modification to that plan based on the traffic study, specifically with regard to the curb cut on West First Street. Planning has asked that that become a two-way ingress-egress curb cut. So that is the plan that planning has asked for. So it is not going to be egress only. But again, that doesn't impact the variances that are before the board. That is a site plan issue. With regard to the dumpster location, we control that to an extent. We put it on the site plan where the town prefers it. That would be the dumpster that is used for Restaurant A and Restaurant B. However, our location, size, et cetera, regarding the dumpster is ultimately controlled by the commercial garbage district, so. if
This has
they
gone through planning, right? They approved this plan?
They approved this plan through planning, correct. If they ask for a modification or an additional dumpster location on site, we would have to provide it and find a location for it.
The planning board has not made a determination.
No, they have not. They have not. I don't anticipate, the only change I anticipate to the site plan that's presently before the board is that curb cut becoming an ingress-egress curb cut. And that was recommended by the town's traffic safety expert due to issues related to traffic accidents at the corner of West First Street and Grand Boulevard. Apparently that they've had a lot of issues at that intersection, so they wanted to give the option to send the traffic to Lake Avenue as well. With regard to the drive-through is going to go out onto Deer Park Avenue. That's the way it's designed. That is our preferred exit, and that's how we're going to proceed. Along West First Street, currently there is a building that is in poor shape, would be a nice way of putting it, but it's in pretty rough shape. We are going to be taking that building down and replacing it with a substantial buffer. I don't know if you have a copy of the landscape plan. If not, we can, Stephen, can you show the board a copy of it? We might have it mounted on a board just so the residents can see it as well. The lighting will be compliant with whatever the town requires us to do. The plan would be to keep it all directed down towards the site and not go out onto the street. In terms of noise from Restaurant A after 10 o'clock, I mean, I do understand the property owner's concern regarding his tenant. However, this building does front on Route 231, which is a 6-lane highway, and traffic goes pretty swiftly down there. So ambient noise alone is probably noisier than anything that Restaurant A is going to generate during its hours of operation. Again, I'm addressing these, understanding that none of these have any effect on the setback variance that we're requesting. These are all issues related to site plan and are all being addressed by the planning board.
So, since you don't know what's going in Restaurant A, right? That's the one that's still not been determined?
Correct.
Is there a possibility that that's going to have a drive-up?
Not the way it's, we couldn't do it the way it is now. We would need a parking variance. We'd have to, I don't think from an engineering standpoint it's even remotely possible under the current configuration. There's just not enough room to get cars in. They'd have to, I mean, maybe a Checkers, but those aren't really doing well these days, so.
They're mostly out of business from one time.
So, yeah, so I don't see that as a possibility for that location. If you see up here, we have a copy of the landscape plan. You can see we're doing a substantial double row of...
Turn it
To the people so they could see all the trees that are being planted.
You can come up and see it. That's okay.
Come up and
Don't worry about it.
got lots of sets of plans. Give them one.
There's some larger trees. There's a double row of arborvitae along West First Street. There's a row of arborvitae along the rear property line adjacent to the commercial office building that we back up to where the variance is. So, I mean, compared to what's there now, which is basically a bunch of weeds and bramble, it's going to be a significant improvement. And I would note that the Deer Park Chamber of Commerce did express their gratitude for redeveloping this site. We're also working with the Deer Park Fire Department. They're going to be doing some training at this location in the next couple of weeks. So,
What is the building to the west of Restaurant A?
the building to the west? You mean to the north? What is there?
Papa John's.
Yeah, it's
No,
yeah,
to the,
it's
to
like
the
a
west
s-
of your building, of Restaurant A.
That's north,
That's north,
right?
on West First.
That's their building.
That's
Yeah, you
their
got Restaurant A and B. What's the other one in the corner? That's theirs?
That's theirs, yeah.
that's their building. Yes. That's a mixed use building. I didn't even realize it was a mixed use building.
You touched on the lighting, right?
Yeah, the lighting's going to be compliant with the town code requirements. I believe Babylon requires dark sky compliance, so everything will be directed downward. It'll be minimal, whatever we need to provide security and, you know, make sure people can see where they're going.
Nope, I have no other questions.
We're going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. And the planning is still not approved yet, right?
Planning is not approved. We expect that to happen in the next week or so. Fingers crossed.
All right, we'll take everything into consideration. Hopefully we answered your questions and stuff, okay? Thank you. Thanks for coming down.
Thanks.
Oh, we can end it on stream. This concludes the live stream.